Well, let's start number one with retraction. I am still an idiot, so always keep that in mind. I just got this pulled off because as I started looking at it, I realized that this is actually keyed. And if I remember, it seems like the Gen 3s are too. So just the keyway is just on the crankshaft for the timing and the oil pump setup, which makes sense. And it probably was on the 3. It's already been several months since I rebuilt that one. I just don't remember. So the bottom timing gear is keyed, and I did have to press it off. I swore up and down the other one fell off, but I may have had to do this. I just don't remember. It's no fun getting old. But I did have to, like I said, I had to use a small puller. My big jaws wouldn't go around it, and all I had was a set of 2 that I didn't like using, and I ended up having to use a big fat washer in there to, it actually is now stuck in it, but that's fine. I can get that off here if need be, but it was actually able to get behind there. It's like now that I shook on it, half the nuts are falling off of it. That's something you got to watch on these, is these cheapy ones like I got. They don't hold together well. That little 3 jaw, every time I use it, I have to put it literally self-destructs every time I use it. But anyway, it took it off here okay. You got to be careful because they have a tendency, that was the reason I like that big washer on there, because what happens is they have a tendency, they try to walk funny, especially up and down. They usually don't do it side to side where the jaws are, and they'll get at things at a really funny angle. Anyway, I got it off there. That was what I was after. So that's got me that far. But anyway, yeah, retraction on that. Crank does have a keyway, but not for the balancer, only for the timing set. All right. Let's keep going. Since I'm up here at the top, I don't think I'm going to need that anymore. Get some of this stuff out of the way. And I just dumped them all, of course. Let's go ahead and get the lifters out, because that's something I really wanted to show you the difference on. Oh, and I told you I've owned a couple of what I consider newer. The Corvette was a 2005. It was the first year of the C6 that had the LS2 6-speed. I didn't do any work on the car. It already had coarse exhaust, air rate intake, had a tune on it. Thing ran great. Did really good on fuel mileage. Wife and I really liked that car, but we needed to get rid of it, and when she got sick, so that's what we did. But either way, it did not have the active fuel management system on, or DOD, whatever they called it in 2005. It did not have that. So it never did drop those cylinders out. But I don't know if it had variable valve timing. I really didn't look at the LS2s all that much to know, what some of the differences were. All right, let's just look at these real quick. At first glance, I guess I need to make sure you're looking at it. At first glance, the only thing you really see is they've got a couple extra notches in them, and then they've got 2 holes in them. This is your standard lifter. Every V8 that I know of that said Vortec on it, including the Gen 1s, like your Vortec pickup trucks and stuff, you had the 350s and stuff in them, all use basically the same lifter. Nothing really changed that much in them. Where the active fuel management goes, though, I don't even know if I can get this out of there. I don't even know which way it's supposed to go. Yeah, look at that. Set them side by side. You can really tell the difference in them. And I'll show you what both of them are that way. So basically, that one and the one next to it are going to be the same. So I'm really hoping you're looking at this, because I'm on the wrong side of the camera. Anyway, they're all roller. That did not change there, but I'm just checking to see if but this is number what do I grab here? This is number 5 and number 7, and so I told you here the other day, number 1 and number 7 on the driver's side use the active fuel, and then on the passenger side it's number 2 and 4, excuse me, 4 and 6 use the active fuel. So 2 center ones on the passenger side, the 2 outer ones on the driver's side or front back, however you want to say, depends on how the engine's setting. But this is what that looks like, and I'll kind of show you what makes them work. This stuff down. I didn't even look at that. Yeah, I didn't even look at the back side of that timing cover for that sensor that's on there, but that's basically all it is, a sensor. It looks like it must read off of the cam, the top cam gear. Anyway, it didn't make any difference. Finish getting these out. Well, pulled one of them. That's in there pretty good. Backwards. Not that it matters. I don't know if I'm reusing these or not this time. I'm not reusing the lifters. I meant the actual holders. I think I am, but most of the time they don't go bad. But if they gotten hot, if the engine got hot for some reason, it may distort those possibly, and then they don't hold the lifter like it's supposed to. Really, all it is kind of a guide for them so they don't turn. You want them facing the same. Oh, is that? Hang on, I might have spoke too soon here on this cam. I'm going to really look at that pretty hard. No, that's just debris. I think. No, it's chewed up. Look at that. That doesn't wipe off. That is damage. Hopefully it did not damage. I hope you're looking at it. I hope that did not damage the cam, because the camshafts are what are expensive on these. Guess I better look at those other ones a little bit harder. Yeah, that's pretty chewed up. I did hear a little bit of a lifter tick at first start, but I really didn't notice it being obnoxious, you know, like some of them are. That neighbor's pickup, who's still putting the motor in that crew cab next door. I mean, he started that project 4 or 5 months ago. Anyway, I think I'm slow at stuff. He, I mean, when his was, it was obvious his was bad. I mean, this thing sounded terrible. If I can turn this. Oh boy. Yeah. It ate the cam. Ah. Well, I'm glad I haven't ordered parts or given him a number yet. That's not what I expected, guys. Well, let me get it out there and I'll show it to you. Get the rest of this stuff pulled out on this side. It's not what I was wanting to see. Just dropped my pry bar. Not what I was wanting to see. And I dropped the bolt. Yay for me! Set. Come on! Come on! Again with the one. Now this thing has a little bit of debris in it, I'm going to say. It's got, it's not terrible, but it's got scaling and, you know, it's just, I don't know how long they had it. I'm not sitting there trying to bash the people who own it or the people who's owned it in the past, but and I'm a firm believer in about every third oil change on most of my stuff I run. Now I'm talking about the older stuff. I'm not talking about like our Toyota, which I have I have a dealer service because I need that car to go 10 years. I need that car to be able to, when we decide to go somewhere, I have no problems jumping in that car and you know, driving across country or whatever. Now most of my stuff I would do that too, but not all of it. Malibu has kind of a vibration, and it's not. I I had to put a pinion seal in it, and every time I've ever dropped a drive shaft and put a pinion seal in one, I've always got kind of a, it's like a come and go, kind of a harmonic distortion of some, or a vibration of some type. I don't know why. Now again, this just came out of here, so this is number 6 cylinder, and it has the active fuel. I didn't show you on that other one. You know, so I told you it's the 2 center ones on the passenger side. Trying to get that last lifter out. Come on. Anyway, what these pockets do, I didn't finish that completely either. Boy, I jump around too much. Is that holds these where these wheels all roll the same way. If this thing was to wear out and turn sideways, you talk about eat a cam. That wheel no longer turns the right direction. That will cause you instant failure of cam. Well, instant within, you know, just a handful of miles. First you'll hear it, and then you'll notice it starts skipping and missing, and then it will get stupider. The rest of these don't look that bad, but it 8 number, that was the front. I think that was the front one. Yeah, that was the very front lobe on the cam. So, with that said, why would that do that? Was it an oiling issue? Is it just something got in there? Was there something that was inferior to begin with? Man, I just don't know. But I do know that that's no good. That's going to cost, I mean, I think these cams start at like 300 bucks. If this is the case, I'm wondering if it isn't cheaper just to buy, I'm going to look into it, just to buy the retro kit and just drop this stuff. Just drop that active fuel management altogether. Now you do have to have it tuned out. You have to have it tuned out, or the motor, the computer will still attempt to do it even if half the components aren't here. And I'm afraid it'll try to shut the injectors off. It may not. It may just have a check engine light on all the time or run like crap. I don't know what it would do. I've never tried one, but you know, I don't know. But anyway, cam's gone. I'll show you that here in a minute. Let's go ahead and get the motor mount off. I'm gonna get the plate off the cam, get it pulled out, and show it to you. I know these videos sometimes get running long. And I dropped all my tools. There's stuff everywhere. Wrong way. Now you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just pulling this motor mount off the side. And then dropping bolts. This motor mount's not broke, but it's garbage. It's got a crack in the rubber. I can already see it down there. I might show you that here in a minute. It's not loose like the other one, but it's obviously got some wear on it. I got a tool to get the retaining plate off the cam. And then we get pulled. Wow, I was not expecting this. Unacceptable. Now let's see here, where are, unfortunately, got sat tools everywhere. Now the one I need I can't find. I can see I'm going to have to purchase better Allen head, or excuse me, torques. Tools. I cannot find what I'm after here. So I'm gonna have to step up, go to what size that is. Bigger than that. Bigger than that. No. Off camera, not doing anything. I actually am doing something. It's just now I'm determined to knock that head over. I need it. There's 4 retaining bolts for the cam. They're countersunk and they're Allen head. And they feel like they are Loctited in. This is a T40 I'm using. I don't know exactly what size, but seems to be working. Good, nice. Okay. Whew, it hurts. Time to cheat. Loctited. Wow. Way to go. The odds of this just falling off. Hey. And they all have some type of a gasket. I replaced the one on that one over there, that 5.3 Gen 3 I built. This thing is dead flat. I'm afraid if you don't replace this, because that kind of retains oil pressure on one side or the other, I'm afraid that if you don't have that, you could possibly lose oil pressure by, I don't know that's a fact, but in my mind, these things aren't all that expensive. And if it's worth another, 2 to 3, 5, whatever PSI on your oil pressure, then I think it would be worth trying to replace, but that's me. I didn't replace them on a couple of them. All right, let's see if we can get this cam out of here now. I don't want to hurt the cam bearings, but the cam itself is junk. I have a bad feeling. Yeah, it's done. I feel it with my thumb. I try to spin them easy and slow, try to work them out easy. It's hard not to get them out without damage. And oh, that's just garbage. I thought that one was ate up too, but it's just garbage on it. But it doesn't make any difference at this point. If one's bad, they're all bad, as far as I. All right. I don't know. All right, let me get my snot rag here, wipe this down, show you what I'm talking about. This reminds me of that one I just showed you off the Gen 3. That's the #1 lobe. And it's ate up. It is done. That is entirely too bad. That is not cheap. I'll have to look at the rest of these cam bearings. I'm already not happy with this one. I can't tell if it's just discolored or if it's a little bit of brass trying to show through. It looks like it's discolored a little bit, but I don't know. Well, let's see. Might as well take this top off. I don't know what that looks like under there. I mean, I know what the block looks like, but I don't know. I just got passages through it. It'd be interesting to see what that looks like. Like I said, I've not had one of these apart. All right. Again, I have jumped around instead of explaining the rest of the stuff. Since the Corvette, the only other Gen 4, I guess I'm going to call it, engine I've owned is a. My wife and I had, and I've said this on other videos, but we had a 2006 SS Impala. The Monte Carlos SS's from 2006 up. A handful of the Pontiac, is it the G6 GT? I don't remember. Or is it Grand Prix GPT? I don't remember. I think it was a Grand Prix GT. You could get from that LS, and it was an LS4. You know, before you get on there and say, I have never heard of an LS4, research it. Punch up 2006, 7, 8, SS Impala, Monte Carlo, whatever, and it'll show you. It had an all aluminum 5.3 V8 that produced 303 horse and 323 pounds of torque. It has its own set of accessories in the front since the engine sits in there transverse. It has a different balancer on the front. It only has a single pulley. Mine flew apart, which was bad because you have to pull the engine, which drops out the bottom to replace that. To change the belt, the tensioner is something very odd. You have to have special tools. I've seen a guy try it with a jack. It looks scary, so that's no fun. But what makes the LS4 a pain in the butt is you cannot put it behind a standard V8 transmission of any kind. It looks like it's partially cast in the block, but basically it was set up for a V6, the 2.8, 3.1, 3.4, and then the newer the 3.5, 6, and stuff like that. It was set up with that bell housing. So they made an adapter. Well, they didn't make an adapter. They actually used that bell housing specifically for the V8. They may have had to shorten length, and I don't know how they actually made it fit, but it doesn't make any difference. That's how it was. I've seen people put them in Pontiac Fieros that had the 2.8 V6. The Iron Duke may have used the same bell housing. I don't know that for a fact. That 2.45, I think it was 2.5 that you could get in the 4-cylinder. But I've seen people put them in that Pontiac Fiero, and although I'm not a big Fiero fan, they have a place. I just don't. They're just not something I would just go, buy for fun. But with a V8 in it and a 5-speed, a Get Rag 5-speed, that actually would be kind of a fun car to drive. Okay, this is part of that active fuel management. Those are, I think solenoids or something. I'm not really sure, but this is your. I thought this was a cam sensor. I said that before. I still think it is, but don't quote me on that. It was a cam sensor before. I mean, I don't know what it is now. But that thing either sends power, sends signal. It opens up those solenoid valves. I'm assuming that's how it does, and allows more oil pressure to go down and holds those valves open. I think that's how that works. And again, I am not an expert on these, but this plate does not look anything like the Gen 3s, because the Gen 3s, I've said before, actually have, you've got your knock sensors, which are now on the side of the block, like the old throttle body engines and stuff were, the Gen 1s. But anyway, this is kind of specific to these, so you know, you just can't throw any old deal on there, because the block is also, I think, machined a little bit different. I think it uses a different gasket on top, because this is a little bit different. I mean, there's a lot of things that are different on this. I assume that these solenoids either need replaced, or you know, if they don't work right, I assume that you would get some type of a code. This isn't super hard to get to. You got to pull the upper intake off, but that doesn't take that long to do. So in my mind, I'm just going to leave the bolts with this. In my mind, I don't see a problem with not replacing them right now, because I don't know what it's going to cost. I don't know if you just get the whole top and replace it, or one of them at a time. I just don't know. I don't know enough about them. But anyway, that's what that looks like. This is where 1, 7, and 4 and 6 are the ones that, like I said, have those active fuel management lifters on them. But anyway, getting back to that SS Impala, that LS4, that had the what they called at the time was DOD, which is why I kept calling it that. Before it was a displacement on demand, but it was basically the same setup, and it would kill those 4 cylinders when you get at even speed going down the road. And that was great until you put loud exhaust on it, like I did. And then whenever you'd be going down the road and it would kick that in, basically you just cut 4 cylinders out. It didn't sound like you had helicopters in the back. It sounded really crappy, and I know sound effects weren't necessary, but trust me, if you ever wanted to do it. So what I found, and I've said this on another video, I just don't know if it made it out or not, is what I found is you're driving in town, if you drop it out of overdrive just into drive, or whatever that said, I can't remember, it would stop that from coming on. And so then you didn't have to worry about it doing that, because it would do it at 20, 30 mile an hour. You'd be going down the road and you could hear it starting. So it really sounded bad. But anyway, I am going to take you off because I know this video is way too long. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to mark the rest of those. You've seen me do it before. I'm just going to go ahead and mark the other rods, and then I'm going to start taking it apart. I'm not going to show you that anymore. This is what I was really after, was to show you what that those lifters look like, what that top plate looked like, the difference in the cam as far as that single bolt to the 3, and so really, and now that I found out the cam's 8 up, you know, this kind of tells me a few things I'm gonna have to deal with. But I'm going to pull the rest of this down. Like I said, I've got videos on the 4.8 and that. I don't know if I did it on the 5.3, but the 4.8 showed kind of how to take all that stuff apart. There's no sense in showing you again. If you have questions specifically on the Gen 4s, if you can't find it, if I can't answer it, I'll find a place to do it, or I'll give you the answer that either I think it is, or where to look, or whatever to find it out. I'm also going to go get a Gen 4 book, Chilton Haynes, whatever it is. It's good to have that specifically for torque specs, clearances. It's just really handy to have those around. Yes, you can look them up. Yes, you can look on your phone and you know, all that stuff. And for younger kids, people, that's great. I'm glad it works for you. I drop my phone, I cover it with garbage. I can't get it to do what I want when I've got gloves on. It's just easy for me to get a book out, open to that page, and I'm on it until I get past that point. So that's me. You guys do it however you want. But so I'll see you here after a bit. If I find anything that I don't like, I'll bring you back.